What is the earliest televised reality ghost hunting show? That question is harder to answer than you might think, but while I was looking into that, I actually stumbled across a ghost hunting show that I have never heard of before. And I'm a huge fan of ghost hunting shows. Like, I watched them all growing up, so I was pretty shocked. It's a show called Scream Team, which aired in the UK in 2002. Not to be confused with The Scream Team, which was a Disney Channel movie that aired in the same year, which made looking into all of this very confusing. The show was pitched as a Blair Witch meets Scooby-Doo. Honestly, that would have hooked me as a kid and I probably would have watched the crap out of the show. So it follows 6 young adults in a very cool Airstream bus as they travel across the UK trying to ghost hunt and solve mysteries. But hark, I hear thee. Jenny, why has it taken you so long to upload again? Jenny, why is this a constant trend on your channel? And look, I get it. And honestly, I don't like it either. What happens is that I am looking into a few different video topics at the same time, and that research takes a lot of time. And I'm just one girl doing her best. But what also gets me off track a little bit is all of the new things that I learn about while researching for other video topics, like Scream Team. Also, before we start, really quick, I am in between moving spaces, which is why I look like I'm in a very strange liminal corner. But I did try decorating for Halloween, because it is October while I'm filming this. But I thought I would show you guys this. I feel like you'd appreciate it. So, because I'm in between spaces, I don't have a proper recording setup right now. And my microphone is just attached to this little skeleton. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see him. Probably not. But yeah, my boyfriend got me this for I think it's either our anniversary or for Christmas like a year or two ago. But I don't know, only spookiest setups here at the Jenny Twigs channel. Anyways, let's look into Scream Team. So I found a video that aired as promotional material for the show. So maybe by watching this, we can get a better vibe of what the show is like. All right, immediately I can see the Blair Witch influence in here, very strong. I do think it's really funny, like there's a super intense moment happening and it's just IT consultant. It does not match the vibe. Okay, I like that they're screaming their names in the distance. It's a very clever way to like introduce the cast. But it does sound like the team is just like frantically searching for her.
Shayla! Shayla! Shayla, where are you? We stopped playing hide and seek like an hour ago. We gotta get back to filming.
Okay. Who chose this frame for poor Dan? Like, the other ones at least have like some believer, non-believer tag, and he's just terrified. So I found some promotional articles for the show, and they are really heavy-handed with these Scooby-Doo references. So the first article is a BBC article, and it talks about like, Blair Witch and whatever, but then it says, hoping to fill the shoes of Freddy, the leader of the Scooby-Doo gang will be Phil Wyman from Nottingham. He's a 31-year-old IT consultant whose interest in the paranormal began after he saw the Sprit? I don't know what a Sprit is. I thought this was a show about spirits. The spirit of a dead cat at his mom's house 20 years ago. So the next team member that they talk about in this article is just like on the side as like a little photo, and the caption says, Scream Team member Amy Jones, a Daphne who fills Freddy. That's literally the only thing they say about her. Like, they just reduce her down to a possible love interest. There are also articles talking about members Dan Ainsworth, an artist and skeptic, and as we know, terrified, and a Sam Witcher, sorry, easy mix-up, who is a skeptic as well. When I was looking into the cast members and trying to find information on them, I could only find articles talking about the guys with any kind of substance. But I did find an article on a website called Higgypop that seemed to have at least a crumb of substance about the women. Cast member Becky Kidder is a 24-year-old skeptic who is working as a checkout girl, and our girl Shayla Shehovic, I hope I said that right, who is a 29-year-old actress. This reacting to a show kind of video is very new for me, so I'm only going to watch a few episodes, and if you guys really enjoy this and I really enjoy filming it, maybe we can do a part 2. But these videos are long. They are 40 minutes each, and if I reacted fully to all of that, we would be here for a while, so I am going to condense it a little bit. But while I'm watching these episodes, I'm going to be tracking a few things, because I'm really curious how these like really early ghost hunting television shows compare to our modern ones and like the modern YouTube ghost hunting atmosphere. I want to see if the tropes, trends, devices, theories, all that stuff that we see today were common or prevalent at all in like early ghost hunting television. So on my handy dandy whiteboard, I'm going to be tracking paranormal theories and tropes and the ghost hunting devices. God, this is kind of big for the frame. So I'm really curious to see what the tallies will look like by the end of this video. All right, so let's dive into the first episode titled Witchcraft in Clapham Woods.
Under its canopy, people go missing. Pets and wild animals are found slaughtered. It's a wood where the natural growth of trees has been mutated by human hands. Branches
I'm sorry, what do you mean by that? Mutated by human hands? Isn't that something you would, like, say for literally anything made by someone? Like, you could say that that pottery was mutated by human hands. So the episode starts with introducing each team member, and to save us both time, I'm just going to consolidate that for you. So we have Phil, Dan, Shayla, Becky, Amy, and Sam. Wait, Sam's a college student too? Maybe he should, like, watch his ceiling for some burning demons. Or like call his brother or something. So the team receives an envelope which contains information about like the mission, mystery, or ghost hunt that they're about to go on. And it's very like Love Island style. Instead of, I got a text on a phone, it's just a spooky envelope. So the envelope contains newspapers talking about Clapham Woods and how they're super duper haunted and how there's a cult and ritualistic stuff going on and people keep disappearing. When they reach Clapham, Shayla and Sam team up and they go and talk to an older gentleman who is apparently the only person in this town who was willing to speak with them about this. He tells them that locals have a bunch of experiences, but they don't want to talk about it to anybody, like to any strangers, anyone outside of the town.
The people who live in the village, why are they seem so unwilling to talk about things? Why are they scared about what goes on in the woods?
I think a lot of them are scared, you know.
So they must have actually experienced something themselves. Or...
Yeah.
Have you?
Well, lots of things.
Ernie was unwilling to say more.
I'm sorry, are you sure about that? Because it sounded like he was about to say more. So while Shayla and Sam are learning absolutely nothing, the rest of the team are being told about this special grove of trees that have been, yes, mutated by human hands. The researchers are talking about this like it's dark occultists who could be the ones doing all this.
And remember that the main enemy in those woods is your own imagination.
No, I think it's the scary occultists that are supposedly running around in these woods. So they get to the woods, they set up their camp, they stumble upon a dead rabbit, which honestly, it's not that unusual. It's the woods, animals live and die there. So Phil and Amy go out searching for signs of the occult in the woods, and Phil starts pointing out things to look for, as if he suddenly is an expert on this.
It's stuck to the branch, yeah? And this as well. It's actually stuck. There's another one, yeah? See this? That's a really good one, actually. That's actually stuck with some resin and it...
But does that not just happen naturally?
Those are literally just tree branches. They're literally just fallen tree branches that get stuck in the other branches because guess what? Trees have a lot of them and they get stuck sometimes. And Amy is rightfully pointing that out. She really asks, doesn't that happen naturally? And Phil says, no.
Whoa, you see that branch right there? That's witchcraft. That's occult stuff. Isn't that just a stick that fell? This looks a lot more like occult stuff. No, pay attention, Amy. This is a stick that has been manipulated by evil, occult human hands.
Later, they go to a bigger tree where there's a bigger tree branch, and it's literally just the Blair Witch symbol. Man, I really hope nobody gets frustrated and chucks a map into a river and then gets stuck in the basement corner or anything. So they bring in a psychic medium, and he tells them essentially things that we already know. And it's like 35 minutes into this episode, and I think we're just getting into some of the investigation stuff.
He persuades Sam to join him in a search for that site.
What's there? See that?
Oh my god. Phil, stop it with the branches. Why are you so obsessed with branches? You are in the woods.
That branch there? It's stuck onto that branch. Just the way they are, over the way the trees are. That's not right.
Dude, even Sam knows that it's just branches, and Phil is just so silent. They're scary occult branches. Dowsing rods. I'm counting them as a tally. 1 tally. God, I did not think of a good way to do this. For dowsing rods. So while Shayla is using the dowsing rods and nothing really comes of it, they cut back to a discovery by Phil and Sam. Can you guess what it is? Ding, 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 ding. You're right, it's more branches. So Amy goes to look at the branches that are the discovery of Phil, and she's getting spooked because she's hearing like footsteps and like cracking on branches, and she's making a point to look behind her very scared. It's just very clearly the cameraman struggling to walk backwards in the middle of the night in the woods. But she runs away because of an animal noise, which I would joke that it's silly to run from since it's in the woods and like, duh, animals live there. But if I heard a strange animal in the woods in the middle of the night, I'd probably leave too. So Phil then hears a sound that we don't hear, and he goes back into the woods, and then he goes back to camp where they all go to sleep, and that's it. That's the investigation. We used some dowsing rods, we saw some branches. I'd say that's a successful investigation. Episode 2 focuses on Bluebell Hill in Kent, where there's a possible haunting of a Judith Lingham, who was a bride that died in a car crash in 1965. They say there's ancient burial grounds there, and something else that they think is much, much darker. Too dark? Can we turn the lights back on, please? Okay, I noticed this before in the first episode, but do they use a real-life missing persons poster in the intro? Oh my god, I think they did. I mean, they blocked out or like censored the contact info, but if this is real, that's really scummy. So they first investigate this haunted road and the bride who died in the car crash, who is said to still be seen and possibly causing other car crashes.
Yeah. Poor late night driver.
Actually, this one.
Late night driver. He might have just been tired.
Really? Well,
Definitely. I do like this idea that somebody gets into a car accident and then trying to get out of being responsible for it, they blame a local ghost legend. Maybe there's a ghost clause in their car insurance. I don't know. So the team is meeting up with Ian Sharp, who is somebody who claims to have hit and run over a ghost woman at night.
This lady standing just there. And as I got to roughly, I don't know, about here somewhere, she just walked out in front of the car. I hit her. She went down underneath the car.
This honestly does sound like he just hit a real lady.
Where did she go? Must have been a ghost. Dude, she's over there. Jesus, who are you? I'm the ghost that haunts this road. That was a real person. Who's a real person? Ah!
Next, they bring on a psychic artist who can supposedly draw the dead. I'm noticing that there are heavy psychic presences in these episodes, and they seem to take up a majority of the investigation time, which I hope that's not a trend going forward.
Our team is hoping that she will be able to physically identify the spirit that appears to haunt the A229.
Ian, who's Ian?
Ian. The gentleman there.
Oh, the man you've just introduced me.
So she's trying to draw the lady from Ian's story, right? But he's right next to her, like reacting to what she's drawing. Doesn't that defeat the whole purpose of being a psychic artist? Shouldn't she be able to draw this woman perfectly without having anybody give her hints or reactions to if she's doing the right thing or heading in the right direction? Also, shouldn't it look like the woman from the newspaper article? I don't know, guys. I don't know if I would call that a match. Also, should I be tallying for psychics? I feel like they're kind of like an idea or a concept like the stone tape theory or like portals, but they're also kind of like a paranormal tool. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to because I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of psychics in this show. but just something to keep in mind.
I thought Ian's face was a picture.
Oh yeah.
When she drew that,
Yeah. Don't have to do any more,
image.
that's enough.
Yeah.
Tell you what,
I could not believe it.
You all thought that she was really genuine.
Yeah.
Totally. I don't think that she wasn't genuine because I think that she was coming out with some really interesting stuff. I just think that I need hard evidence and we don't know where she got her information from.
I love that they try to portray Amy as somebody who's like scared and fragile, but then she goes and openly criticizes and questions things, which is super cool.
The team has an opportunity to put the two faces together. But the team have their doubts that she's one of the girls from the 1965 crash.
So they're looking at the photos of the victims from the car crash and comparing it to the drawing, and to the surprise of nobody, it's not a match. What I do love is after this, they meet up with a guy who brings up how media can be sensationalist and not evidence.
Another example of the way the sensationalist press can go onto the story, and this is not very well founded piece in The Sun, very easily dismissed. If we look at my photographs and zoom in on the ghost, and you'll see she's a road sign.
So I do love that they are kind of looking into some things, trying to debunk them, or at least looking at them with a critical eye. Then they start to discuss the history of Bluebell Hill, as it has ancient burial grounds and could be the reason for the haunting. And I'm going to add ancient burial ground haunting to the tally of paranormal theories and tropes, because I live in New England, and boy have I heard that one. They visit a site called Kit's Cotty, which was an ancient burial site that was then desecrated by a farmer who wanted to use it for his fields. And then they decide to camp nearby.
What a frickin' man I am. Let's go forth and cause trouble.
The team set off for the hill, but are they prepared for the night ahead?
I think I've left the torch.
What was that? What was she doing? Was she hitting a dance move? Just like, maybe the spirit of dance possessed her. Oh, what is that? Oh, that's a pendulum. That's a pendulum. I'm adding it to the device tally. I wonder if they're going to make Shayla the one who's using any, like, tools, because she was the one who used the dowsing rods in the last episode, but I guess nothing happens. So, I don't know, they're not doing anything with them.
Found something, come in.
Wait, girl, why are you in there?
Yeah, they're clever.
Dude, why are you going in too? This is clearly fenced off for a reason.
2 bunches of flowers and one with,
There's feather as well.
a feather and one there.
And they're in there literally just pointing out flowers and feathers and sticks. I think they're trying to insinuate that, like, this is a witchy cult thing, but I'm thinking it's just wildflowers and a feather probably.
It's a pleasure to come to such an old site as this.
Okay, so they're meeting up with this other psychic, and I'm already suspicious about her because she says it's such a pleasure to be at this historic site. So she already knows about the site. Doesn't that contaminate, like, everything about using a psychic in an investigation? Like, she can just say accurate things off the bat because she already knows the place that she's in.
You feel the energy pulsing from that stone.
Terry is an expert in ley lines.
That's another one to add to the tally. The paranormal concept tally is ley lines, which I'm going to be honest. Jesus. I don't know much about ley lines, but I am curious and I would like to learn what all the hoopla is about. So maybe I'll do a video on that.
Seeing quite heavily is the time imprint, if you like. But I think now that the land's been left...
Time imprint, you say? Adding it to the tally. Time imprint. The idea that paranormal things are stuck in time and can imprint themselves. I have a whole video about it, Stone Tape Theory. Go watch it. I talk about it.
Just let your minds drop and go back into this area. Just feel. Feel with your mind.
Powerful forces are at work on Bluebell Hill.
Oh man, the psychic lady is getting so affected that she's starting to dance. Are there any spirits here who want to communicate? Guys, I think I'm sensing something. So they finish up their session with the psychic, and then they somehow end up at the conclusion that the many spirits that are haunting this burial ground must be spilling over into the nearby roads, and that's what's causing the hauntings there as well. But that's it. That's all the investigation they do in this episode. All right, next, Episode 3.
Known, the team will spend a night at the notorious Ram Inn.
Oh, okay. So I know that this is one of the popular spots for like paranormal channels on YouTube right now. So at the time that this was filmed, this must have been under the owner John Humphreys, but now I believe his daughter owns the inn. I'll be honest, I don't know much about like the factual history of the place, but this was aired before YouTube existed, so it'll be really cool to see how the inn is portrayed here.
Hello there.
Hello. Hi.
Welcome to the ancient Ram Inn. Let me just explain to you a couple of the things that happened here over the last 2 or 3 years. There was a settee there with 2 teenagers on. And I stood over there, I pointed, I said, there's something funny about that corner. And as I pointed, a big flash came over, picked one of the 18-year-old boys up and dumped him on the floor and hit me with a tremendous force. It threw me right back over there with my legs sticking out against the wall, helpless.
That's like a crazy claim that they got like Fus Rodad in this tiny inn and they're just taking the story so calmly.
Where do these spirits come from? Do you have any idea?
The church on the opposite side of the road is either the oldest or one of the oldest pagan sites in Britain where human sacrifices took place.
I hate to break out the old board, but human sacrifices, burial grounds, yada yada yada, yeah, it's going on the board.
And here you're entering the oldest part of the Ram. This is very, very haunted.
Wow. What I find so funny about this tour of the inn is that like something crazy has supposedly happened in like every corner of this place. The room you're in, some teenagers got flown off a couch. Oh, the floor that you're standing on, there are ancient human bones found there. Oh, those stairs? Yeah, we have a photo of an apparition coming down them. Like, these poor guys are so primed to be spooked out for the rest of the night.
Here is proof of devil worship. When
I paused here to add devil worshippers trope to the tally, but just like look at their faces here reacting to John telling them about this. I feel like they're just letting John Humphreys speak his truth and they're just taking it all in. Anyways, I'm gonna add that to the tally.
there. And here, 2 monks appear. And here in this bed is where the incubus and the succubus appear.
Okay, so the Ancient Ram Inn succubus incubus storyline, I've heard that like today. I guess it was a thing back then too. Oh, jeez, look at their reaction to that as well. He's like flustered. He's like, the what now? Wait, should I add that to the tally? Are demons a trope in ghost hunts? You know what? After saying that out loud, yes they are.
I don't even want to stay in here. This place is...
I'm not going to sleep. Well, I can't. I don't think I will be because I'm too scared.
I'm not staying in here.
I think I'll stay outside. Is that allowed? Can we do that?
No, we can't.
Okay, so they're understandably freaked out about staying in this tiny, spooky inn overnight after John Humphreys lore dumped on them all of the crazy shenanigans that have happened here. So they end up bringing another psychic into their investigation. And if you're somebody who doesn't believe in psychics, this whole show and like most of the investigations are not going to be worth watching. They take up a significant amount of the investigation time.
A lot of interesting vibes around this place, a lot of energies. It's great. Yeah. Temperature changes, anything like that, do you think?
Yeah, I hope so.
You know what? I think I'm going to count that as a tally for cold spots because I feel like that's what he's trying to get at here with like temperature changes. And to be honest, I'm surprised it's taken us this long to get to cold spots or temperature changes.
What are you going to do with those then, Shay? Your divining rods?
Well, rods can detect things like ley lines, energy points.
God, girl, hold on. I have to get the freaking board out. My lord. Okay, so we had ley lines, and then we also have divining rods. Cool.
What?
The crow.
What? It just turned around. It was facing the other way just 2 seconds ago.
Was it?
Yes.
Of course, it's on a piece of string.
Oh, that's
It's going to turn around.
I love that delivery. Yeah, it's on a piece of string. This show has its moments, I'll give it that. So they go around the inn, they feel creeped out, the psychic is describing what he feels, pretty standard psychic stuff, I think. Some of the members mention feeling drained and uneasy, which I'm sure a full day of hearing spooky, scary stories about the place that you're in, And then also the place being super old and probably having uneven floors and low ceilings has nothing to do with that. Just coincidence.
While the rest of the team discusses their next move, exhausted, Dan goes to bed in the most haunted room of the house, the Bishop's Room. This is where the incubus and the succubus are said to reside, male and female demons who sleep with the living to steal their life force.
Steal their life force? Jeez, yeah, he's gonna be sleeping all right. Deep sleep.
Yeah. Seems most of the activity happens around this time of day. The time is ripe for hunting ghouls and goblins and ghosts. Go. I think we should go upstairs and have a look, check the loft. Yeah?
Oh my god.
Let's go.
Oh my god, are they actually investigating? Oh my god, it's happening. They're investigating.
Don't like this room, don't you? No, I get a weird scent in here. I get a weird one.
Fuck off. Fuck.
What was that?
What the fuck was that?
No.
What was that?
That was freaky. Can we go now?
Yeah.
What? Wait, what just happened? Okay, it very clearly looked like to me that somebody just tripped and it spooked everybody. And they're all like, oh my god, what was that? And then the guy who tripped is just, yeah guys, I don't know what that was. That was really scary. I don't know what that was.
I think that's just particularly gross. It's like 4 or 5 rat carcasses. Probably there's teeth on some of them.
What's the point?
Thank you, Becky. What is the point? Like, honestly, what is the point in showing off a dead mouse carcass? Like, are those mice specifically haunting the ancient Ram Inn, or did they just like find those while renovating and thought it would be a cool thing to show?
Whoa. What's up? Nothing. I just found a rat carcass in the wall. I'm gonna throw it out. Wait! I want that. What? Yeah, I think putting it up on display somewhere would really cozy up the place.
So eventually the crew tries to sleep, but then a few of them hear some noises and they get all spooked out. I don't know, man. Hearing noises in an ancient, old building, yeah, I think you're gonna hear some creaks and bangs. Fork found in kitchen, but that's literally it. They conclude that the super duper haunted ancient Ram Inn is kind of creepy. So the interesting thing about episode 3 is that it actually has 2 investigations in it. So the first was the ancient Ram Inn, and now they're moving on to a residential home that the family says is haunted by a poltergeist.
You are in Bristol to investigate a poltergeist. A local family have been experiencing intense poltergeist activity for the last 4 years. The children are terrified and the parents are desperate to rid themselves of the problem.
Okay, now I have some feelings on this. I think it is not great that they are trying to investigate a residential space, especially when it's a family and there's children involved. You would want like psychological experts present and like other professionals checking out the situation, not just a bunch of young adults trying to find ghosts. I don't know. I think when it comes to these kinds of cases, you need to make sure that you're like understanding the whole picture. So the team now go to the house where this residential poltergeist haunting is and are asking the family some questions.
Out of sensitivity, the team decides that the family should remain anonymous.
Wow. Honestly, I did not expect that. But that seems like the right thing to do.
We've had pictures swapped in the frames in the bathroom, and it was upside down in the frames.
Yeah, the pictures were took out the frames, and they were upside down on the wall.
Can you tell me how frequently things happen?
It goes busy for a couple of days, then it's quiet for a couple of days, then it's busy, and it's quiet.
And you don't expect it if you don't look for it, it just happens anyway.
Okay, I take it back. They're immediately showing like little bits of their faces, like literally their whole lower face, and then in other shots, like the whole part of their upper face, to the point where I feel like they've defeated the purpose of trying to stay anonymous. Like, I think I have a pretty good idea of what these people look like.
And that's the way I think it is.
She sees him more often than anybody else.
What does he look like? Just got grey hair. He wears court trousers. One of those old sort of...
Like when Sasha got frightened, basically. I mean,
it tried to hurt the baby.
It's so worrisome, dude. Again, I know I said this before, but like, especially when there's children involved, these are just not the kind of people who should be handling this. The family go on to talk about how there's been an apparition that they've been seeing in the house, and they describe him, and they say that their neighbors have identified that description as the person who previously lived in their unit and passed away.
The team decides some scientific advice is needed, so arrange to meet Dr. Albert Budden, who has rational theories that could explain poltergeist phenomena.
Science! I love to hear it. I'm curious what this segment's gonna be like.
How do you actually account for poltergeist experience? I take it you've investigated
Yeah.
a lot.
Over the past 20 years, I've investigated quite a few cases of UFO-related events and the paranormal. I've investigated 4 or 5 major poltergeist cases, and all of these places where these people are experiencing the levitation of objects, metal bending, appearance of water, fire starting, they're all electromagnetic hotspots. In other words, they have raised levels of electric and magnetic fields, usually from things like power lines or radio transmitters, but also naturally from the Earth.
Okay, I'm no scientist, but I question if like normal daily exposures to EMF can make spoons bend and chairs levitate. This is not the Matrix. Also, yeah, EMF talking about spooky stuff being caused by EMF. Don't know why I went southern there. That's going on the paranormal theory tally.
And in fact, one guy in Canada, a guy called John Hutchison, has actually produced these effects, the same cluster of effects that psychical researchers have been calling poltergeists. He's produced them in his laboratory.
Okay, wait, hold on. I want to check this out. Who? John Hutchinson? Okay, so he's saying that this John Hutchinson can replicate EMF-causing poltergeist-like activity in a lab. X to doubt, I want to look this up. Okay, so I found like a Reddit thread just talking more about it. Apparently there's something called the Hutchison effect that is with like, you know, electricity making things levitate. Apparently, I'm doing a really quick research, so I might be wrong here. The Science Channel did an episode on him. People say, though, that he couldn't reproduce it actually ever since he might have accidentally discovered it by using, like, Tesla coils. Apparently, the FBI paid him to do research in the 80s. I don't know. There's, like, a lot of strange videos around this. Some of them seem to delve into conspiracy theories. I don't know. Maybe this is a possible future video for us to look into, but, interesting thing to learn here. Also, I'm sorry, but this image of the guy in his like full suit sitting on the ground with these kids in front of their camper van is so funny to me. So after they talk with this guy, the team splits up. Half of them go to the house with the family with the psychic and ask them a few more questions and start to investigate, where the other half go to the camper van and wait there.
Shayla has some information about poltergeist activity in the house to throw into the mix.
I've got their diary. Do you want me to read out some stuff for you?
That feels like an invasion of privacy to me. I'm hoping it's just stuff that like the family wrote down for the team or like production wrote down for the team. This is not like actually their diaries.
The TV turns over by itself twice. The ironing board collapses for no reason. Noises and bangs coming from the bathroom.
Okay. This seems like pretty normal house stuff so far.
Saw a person going into Paul's bedroom. I thought it was Paul.
Okay, it's less normal, more spooky. So, of course, they bring in the psychic to help investigate with them, which is so far pretty common for them. And they talk to the family and do a little investigating around the house.
Paul has moved upstairs to the master bedroom, the center of the family's disturbances.
To me, this is in my mind's eye. It looks like there's somebody lying in the bed.
So they have trouble sleeping in this room. Do you think you could sort out their problems?
This crystal will help to...
Whoa. Crystal alert. Add it to the tally that crystals have metaphysical properties that can affect the paranormal. After all of this, they report back to the family what they found, which is, well, without a psychologist being involved, literally anywhere in this investigation, it means that they're kind of just confirming this family's belief that their house is haunted, which can be super dangerous, especially without like a mental evaluation or like any kind of mental health professional being involved. They end with a sage cleansing of the house to try to get rid of the spirits. And I know that this isn't just like a ghost hunting thing, that saging is a Native American spiritual practice. But in this sense, they're using it because they believe it can cleanse a haunting during a ghost investigation. So for that, I am going to add it to the tally to sage as a paranormal theory, if you will. I will say the team did seem to approach this with much more serious energy than we've seen in their other investigations. And at the end of the episode, they do actually check up on the family afterwards, but I don't know. I think it's up to the producers and the executives, and it's like their fault that they conducted this kind of investigation when they really weren't qualified to. Anyways, that's the end of episode 3. On to the last. So this last episode that we're going to be watching covers 2 cursed or haunted objects, which I love hearing about this kind of stuff. I think it's really fun and interesting, so I'm really excited for this episode.
Stop off in the historic town of Salisbury. Here you will investigate a mysterious mummified hand that was unearthed in a former 14th century brothel.
Ooh, so is this going to be like the Hand of Glory thing? Which is like, you know, like the mummified hand of criminal that you're supposed to use. I think is it to like unlock any door? It's European folklore. I've heard about it in passing.
Team head for the cathedral city of Salisbury. Situated on the intersection of powerful ley lines emanating from nearby...
Ley lines again. I dropped my tally board. I apologize. Another ley line making an appearance.
The Haunch of Venison pub, a relatively recent addition to the city, built in 1320.
Dang, did they just say 1320? Geez, that is so cool to hear about places that have like well-documented history for so long back that you can still like go and visit. That's so cool. I love that.
Building dates from 1320. It's a fine old inn today with lots of lovely timbers, and it's haunted, we think, by 2 ghosts.
Sorry, just 2? Your building has existed for possibly like 700 years, and only 2 ghosts want to be there? I don't know, if I was the owner, I feel like I'd be a little offended. Like, you don't like my place enough to haunt? What the heck?
Just across the street from the inn here is where the butchers were working and living. And perhaps it was during a game of cards that maybe 2 butchers had a violent row. Maybe one of the players cheated, or perhaps they couldn't pay their debt. And the hand was severed.
Is that like a normal reaction back then to losing for like a game? Like if you had a debt that you just like lose your hand? That's a little dramatic.
It was found with 2 playing cards concealed by the fireplace. It had actually been placed into what we think was perhaps an old bread oven.
Okay, that does sound more plausible now, hearing that it was found with playing cards, but it also just straight up sounds like witchcraft or superstition. How, and like, I don't know if this is a thing everywhere, but in New England, sometimes you can find shoes within the walls because people thought it would thwart negative energy, I think. Don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. But it could be something like that. But I guess, you know, they have found a supposed Hand of Glory before, so I guess it's not totally out of the realm of possibility that this could be one.
This mummified hand, are we actually allowed to touch it?
I certainly wouldn't like to touch it. There is a story that it is cursed if you touch it.
Okay.
I love some of these reactions. Also, that's kind of a strange question to ask, but I think she's trying to suss out if it's maybe like a real hand or not. So basically they interview a few of the staff members and they mention seeing a shadow figure, and they start to talk about this idea that they think that the owner of the hand is haunting the place looking for his hand.
The true history of the macabre hand is unknown, so the team has contacted a psychic, Teresa Symes, to see...
No, not again.
As always, Phil the computer boffin has his own devices to monitor paranormal activity.
Devices, you say?
Briefly run over the equipment I've got. Going to use a thermometer for detecting temperature changes.
All right, we've got a thermometer.
And this is a electromagnetic field detecting device. So if anything happens...
Okay, so EMF meter. I kind of like how he says, like, the full name, electromagnetic field detector device, because it just shows that it was not a well-known thing back then. Like, if you were to go on any YouTube channel or any, like, current ghost hunting show, they would just say this is an EMF meter, and then you'd probably have already heard about it, or they would explain it, like, in subtext. But here, they're like, what does that do? I've never heard of that, so that's cool. They have their session with the psychic, which we've seen every episode so far, and they all look very uncomfortable. The lady makes a slight mention that this can take a while, so I wonder if nothing really happened, and they're just cutting together the best parts. But then we have the good old past family member is trying to communicate with somebody in this room thing. I obviously was not in that room, but I bet you that this turned into more of a personal reading because the actual reading of the space was not interesting enough for TV.
I need proper sort of evidence of psychic ability, really. Hard.
All right, this guy wants hard evidence of a psychic having ability, which I get. But you also looked at a bunch of branches and were convinced that it was like occult stuff. So, whatever, Phil, you do you.
The team may have made contact with the spirit of a man who chopped off the hand, but the identity of its owner remains a mystery.
Wait, that's it? They didn't even do any investigating in this one. All right, well, now we can learn more about the second cursed or haunted item, which is a painting, which I have heard about before, so I'm really interested in this. So they're meeting with these cafe owners who supposedly had a bad experience with this painting.
And on Boxing Day, we got a telephone call stating that the cafe had basically burned to the ground. When we came back, a picture of one of her daughters holding the crying boy while all the rubbish was being thrown outside by the fire brigade. The picture itself actually survived, but it weren't until I read all this hocus pocus about the picture itself that I'd actually give it any thought.
So this family isn't fully convinced on the paranormal stuff, but they brought this painting in and had a fire at their business. But the painting, was left untouched, so it's spooky.
If you don't believe it, how would you explain the many, many occasions that the painting had survived in different houses?
Basically coincidences, it can't be anything else.
What would you say?
I love this guy's attitude. He just truly does not believe in the curse or haunted stuff. If ghosts are real and that painting is cursed by a spirit, I bet it's so mad. Dude, I literally burned down your business. Why won't you get it? You're not getting it. It's not clocking to you.
Shayla and Dan check into a luxurious hotel, taking with them the portrait of the crying orphan.
Okay, wait, isn't this a little risky? If you're operating under the pretense that these people are believers and that they believe this painting is truly cursed and haunted and causes places to burn down, why would you test this at a hotel? The hotel could sue the crap out of you. Although I'd love to see that on documentation, hotel sues guests due to paranormal curse. That would make a headline.
Does the picture cause the fire? Or is it when there's a fire that the picture is protected?
Yeah.
Okay, honestly, great question. Maybe they're all blaming this painting, but as actually the painting is indestructible. That's a good questioning into the specifics. So next, the team meet up with a local journalist who has apparently done some research into the painting and its history, which honestly I'm really interested to hear about.
The painting itself was one of the first mass-produced paintings that was available in British department stores, and so thousands of people bought this painting. Were called to a number of house fires in the town, and the only thing that seemed to be unscathed in the house was this painting of the crying boy.
Okay, so you're telling me that this painting was supposedly super popular, a bunch of people bought it, and then some house fires happened, and they also happened to have the painting in there? I don't know, I feel like that shouldn't be seen as unusual, if the painting was really that popular and so many people had it. That's like saying if you investigated the house fires of a bunch of millennial white women and you saw that they all had a Live, Laugh, Love poster, that you wouldn't put the correlation together that the Live, Laugh, Love poster caused the fire. It's not that the item is cursed, it's just that a lot of people happen to have the item and some people had house fires.
I was wondering, is there an actual link between the boy in the painting and the phenomenon surrounding the painting?
The facts, as far as I know, have never been established, and in subsequent to all the stories, there's this idea that's arrived about the child being a street urchin, and that this child who was painted was one of these children that seem to sort of have some weird supernatural curse that follows them around, and this guy who'd done the painting, his studio was destroyed by fire, and that's how the legend of there being a fire connected to the painting came about.
Okay. Imagine being so cursed that even just your image or a copy of your face affects people and the environment. In the modern day, that would be like somebody taking a selfie with you and then posting it to social media, and then you've just mass cursed a bunch of people.
Look at this cool branch that I just found. Anyways, get cursed, losers. Oh, that's a cool looking branch. Oh my god!
Is it just a newspaper ploy? That's the thing.
It's very similar to, like, you know, Phenomenon, the way everyone puts stories on, but
Yeah.
Did they say we can burn it?
Girl, oh my god, calm down with the arson.
Yeah, they say we can burn it.
Oh, okay, never mind. Apparently arson is on the table.
What I don't understand about this mission is how we're supposed to draw any conclusions. Because unless we can set it on fire, you know.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Like, what is their investigation tactic here? Are they just gonna, like, ask it questions?
So, what's it like being painting? Are you cold in there? Is that why you're setting fire to places? Do you want us to turn up the heat?
We were thinking about that being a possibility, that we can actually burn it.
Fire?
Yes, but before we do that, we'll have to have a meeting with a medium.
And then they meet with a psychic again. If you couldn't tell, I am very, very skeptical when it comes to anything with psychics and mediums, so I don't hold much weight of anything that they say in an investigation. The psychic talks about some details of the painting and says that yes, this is a picture of a real boy who died, and Amy asks if the spirit of the boy is protecting the painting, and the psychic says no.
It's only a picture. I mean, how many people leave photographs or drawings of themselves? I don't understand.
Pictures.
I love that Amy will like freak out over a taxidermy crow, but then will also ask the most skeptic-leading questions on the show.
Well, I personally don't believe that this spirit can see the picture and is getting offended by
I'm sorry. I do. I've worked with spirit for too long.
I just don't see how that...
Oh my god, are Amy and the psychic beefing right now? They then go on to say that everything that the psychic said matched with what the research showed and the things that the journalist said, which I don't know if that research is correct, and if it is, we don't know if the psychic wasn't already aware of that information, so I don't know, it's kind of a moot point.
The whole point of this mission was to come down and investigate the myth or whatever that this photograph survived fires, and we haven't done that. But she didn't answer any of our questions, and I found she also contradicted herself a bit, and she was quite clever in avoiding questions that she couldn't answer.
Oh, Amy, yes! Clocking that stuff, I love it.
And it's actually not a very nice feeling when you don't agree, because I actually feel like I'm wrong for speaking out, wrong for challenging this lady, when in fact it's just the whole part of an investigation.
Yeah, girl, Amy, I already liked you, but you just got to the #1 top spot of best girl on this show. She's so right though, like questions that are genuine and investigative in nature, trying to get to the truth and find solid information, should never be shot down. I wonder if she like slowly turns more skeptical of the psychics throughout the rest of the show. Don't worry, Amy. I'm on your side, girl.
Listen, you lot are gonna hate me. But I really think we should burn this picture.
No, the team's gonna start fighting.
It's only disrespectful because you're letting yourself get involved with this. You're forgetting that we're supposed to be investigators. We're here to challenge psychics as well as listen to them. And it's a psychic's opinion. Our audience, not...
Yes, Amy, yes. Okay, I do think half of what's happening here is that it is just super taboo to burn artwork or like a photograph of a person, let alone a sad kid. Yeah, I can understand why some of them are hesitant. But if you're trying to investigate the myth that there is a curse, that this picture is unable to burn, maybe you should try to burn it. Just a little bit, just a little teeny bit.
Don't want to go against the group. I'd rather this was a decision.
It's just opinion, isn't it? So you're not going against the group.
But if you're all getting emotionally attached to the picture, but you are, because otherwise you wouldn't care if we burnt it. The only way we're going to get rid of the myth that the photo doesn't burn is to just burn it.
That's what I'm saying.
So what if we try and burn the picture and it doesn't burn?
It would be like the most amazing thing I've probably ever seen in my life.
Oh my god, almost like that's exactly what Amy was getting at this entire time. And by golly, they decide to do it, folks. They decide to try and burn the painting.
Right like this.
Oh my god, okay, whoa, maybe just like try a corner. You don't need to burn the face, jeez.
Up his nose.
It's not going to work, Sam.
Right.
Okay.
It's not going to burn with a light.
Right, I'm going to get some more. Stage 2.
Careful with that.
I want to see 60-foot flames, Phil. That'll
Make sure it
do.
doesn't get on that.
That'll do.
Okay, that feels less safe.
That'll do.
Can't help feeling a little bit sad for him.
God rest your soul, Sam. Nice.
Wait, it's like
Wow,
catching
this just doesn't light.
No light!
Leave a bit.
There's no way that this is not going to burn. It's soaking into the back already, so this is going to be fantastic.
That's enough, I reckon.
If it doesn't burn, this is
Yeah,
going to be
baby.
freaky deaky.
I love her. Freaky deaky.
Whoa!
Oh, okay.
That
There
is
it
going
is.
big
It's
style.
right. So they proved it can burn, but it was actually pretty resistant to fire at first. So maybe that could be evidence in how the myth possibly started. They end the investigation here, but personally, I would have tried to find the company that had printed this painting in mass and then sold it, and then asked what kind of like fire retardant or what kind of covering they put on their products, because it seemed to not catch fire for quite a while. All right, so that was Scream Team, at least like the first 4 episodes of it. It was pretty slow at times and heavy-handed on the psychic mediums and investigations, but there were a few things that were brought up throughout these 4 episodes that, you know, they seemed to be kind of skeptical on, and they tried to investigate. I feel like the investigation was like this much psychic medium and like this much true paranormal investigation. But there were a few things that were brought up in these episodes. Let's go over the tallies. Also, I kind of overdid the size of this board for like how many tallies I ended up needing, but I didn't know. So for the paranormal theory and concept tally, we have 12. And we only watched 4 episodes, so that's quite a lot. And then for the devices, we have only 5, which I think is quite shocking, to be honest with you. I was expecting, or maybe I don't know what I was expecting. I know that devices haven't always been as popular as they are today, but I feel like I always remember them being in ghost hunting shows, but they were very few and far between in these ones. And they were also more like spiritual leaning. I would say the dowsing rods and the pendulum kind of started more in mysticism and spirituality, whereas like the EMF meter and the thermometer are where people are trying to scientifically find ghosts or like evidence of ghosts. So I don't know, I think that was really interesting. I think the earlier ghost hunting shows definitely focused more on spirituality, psychic mediums, like the general vibe of a spooky place, and then we slowly started to add more devices and technology when people were looking for more scientific evidence of ghosts. I mean, honestly, like not much later, we have ghost hunters and ghost adventures start, so they start using all their devices, so it's not long after Scream Team that we see this, but I don't know, I thought it was really interesting. This style of video was new for me, even though I've only made like 4 videos on my channel so far. But if you enjoyed it, please let me know in the comments, and maybe we can watch the rest of Scream Team in a part 2. Also, if you enjoy paranormal and spooky content, but through a slightly skeptical lens, please consider subscribing. I have this like internal goal to hit 10K subscribers, and you guys have been super awesome engaging in my last 4 videos, and I really appreciate you listening to me yap, basically. I have some seriously cool video topics lined up for this channel, and I cannot wait to share them with you. Thank you guys so much for being here, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye. Let me just... That's my transition for me to know when to cut this out.